To solve problems involving consecutive integers, you can approach in many different ways. A majority of problems in this consecutive integers category can be solved very quickly with specific shortcut methods instead of using variables. In these situations, if you insist on using the methods you learned in the classroom environment, you may find yourself spending more time than you really need to. I'll be addressing these shortcut methods as we solve problems. But there are some advanced problems where you need to use the formal textbook methods to solve quickly and reliably. So in this lesson, I'll go over those basic techniques related to the formal approach. Consecutive integers are as follows. And remember from lesson 1 that integers do include 0 and negative numbers. And consecutive even integers, consecutive odd integers, and consecutive prime numbers are like these. And for the consecutive multiples of an integer, well, I'll just give you an example. Positive consecutive multiples of 3 are these numbers listed here. Now let's move on to our main lesson that will help you solve some advanced problems. If n is any integer, the question is, how do you represent consecutive integers and consecutive even and odd integers? By the way, if you didn't see my lesson 1 video regarding even and odd integer representations, please do so first. Here, I'll assume that you already know those. To represent a sequence of these consecutive integers, you can start with n plus minus any integer and keep adding 1 to previous terms. I can pick 0 for this any integer, so I can simply start with n and keep adding 1 to the previous terms, and we have this representation. To represent a sequence of consecutive even integers, you can choose 0 for this any even integer and start with 2n and keep adding 2 to the previous terms, and we have this representation. To represent a sequence of consecutive odd integers, you can choose 1 for this any odd integer and start from 2n plus 1 and keep adding 2 to the previous terms, and we have this representation. Please remember that the examples I just gave you are not the only representations. For instance, to represent consecutive even integers, we can start from, let's say, 2n minus 14 and keep adding 2 to get this sequence. Now you're ready to solve problems. Let's begin.